Everyone liked Daniel. He smiled easily, spoke gently, and somehow always remembered people's names. At work, he was the kind of man who held the door open, the one who asked about your weekend, the one people described as calm. His coworkers often said the same thing. Daniel is one of the nicest people I've ever met. But Daniel knew the truth. He didn't feel what they felt. When people laughed, he laughed too, not because something was funny, because that was the correct response. When someone cried, he lowered his voice and frowned, not because he felt sympathy, but because that's what people expected. Inside Daniel, there was only silence. Daniel first noticed something was different when he was 12 years old. The girl next door had just lost her dog. The animal had been old, but when it died, she cried for hours. Daniel stood nearby, watching. He studied her carefully. The trembling lips, the shaking shoulders, the tears running down her face. It fascinated him. He tried to feel something, sadness, sympathy, anything. But there was nothing, no emotion, only curiosity. So Daniel started learning. He began studying people the way actors study characters. When people were sad, he copied their tone. When they laughed, he mirrored their energy. When they were angry, he matched their seriousness. And over time, he became very good at it. So good, in fact, that nobody ever suspected a thing. Years later, Daniel built a successful life. He became a respected businessman. People trusted him quickly. They said he had a calming presence. They said he understood people. But what they didn't know was that every conversation was a calculation, every smile was deliberate, and every friendship had a purpose. Daniel didn't see people the way others did. He saw them the way a chess player sees pieces on a board. Move here, say this, get that result. Simple. One evening, Daniel's colleague, Michael, invited him to dinner. Michael talked for hours about his failing marriage, his growing debts, his fears about losing everything. Daniel listened quietly. He nodded at the right moments, spoke softly, pretended to care. Inside, there was still the same quiet emptiness. But during the conversation, Daniel noticed something interesting, something useful. Michael had access to confidential company accounts. Daniel leaned forward slightly. His voice softened. "You can trust me," he said. Michael believed him. They always did. Weeks later, the company discovered missing funds. Thousands of dollars had disappeared. An investigation began immediately, and the evidence pointed perfectly to one person, Michael. The financial records, the login history, the transaction trails, everything led straight to him. Security escorted Michael out of the building. His face was pale, confused, shattered, betrayed. As he walked past the office floor, his eyes met Daniel's, just for a moment. Michael searched Daniel's face for understanding, for support, for some sign that his friend believed him. Daniel tilted his head slightly, pretending to be shocked. Inside, he thought only one thing. That worked better than expected. That night, Daniel sat alone in his apartment. The city lights glowed beneath him. People often said emotions made life meaningful. Love, guilt, compassion. Daniel stared at the glass of wine in his hand. He felt none of it. No guilt, no regret, no empathy. But he did feel something else, something he understood perfectly. Control. And to Daniel, that was more than enough.